Hi everybody, Coach Heather here from King Cardin Fit Body Bootcamp. Today, nutrition news. I wanted to talk about something that I know I've spoken a little bit more about at the gym lately, and just sort of give a why as to why I'm saying more about this at the gym, and explain some things to you guys. Eccentric contractions. I've mentioned them a little bit about slowing down some of the movements in the gym. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why we want to be doing that. So basically we want to talk about the equation work is going to equal force times distance. So basic equation from physics, and it helps us understand why some exercises are better than others for burning fat. So in a nutshell, your work represents the number of calories burned. Force is the amount of force generated, and distance is distance over which that force is generated. So simply put, the more calories, you're going to burn more calories by doing a burpee than, say, a push-up. Why is that so? Even though the push-up is a great body weight movement, it moves your body only from the floor to the point of where your arms are fully extended. So that's about a foot, 2 feet off the floor. By contrast, the burpee takes you from that plank, that push-up position off of the floor and into a full jump. So we're talking about 7-8 feet off the floor by contrast there. So you can see how more muscles are involved, more force is generated, and more distance covered. So according to the equation, it does equal more work. If you're not convinced, you can go ahead and do 10 push-ups and 10 burpees and tell me which one you had a little bit more difficulty with in terms of recovery. So essentially, the more difficult a body weight exercise is, the more work is being done, and the more calories or fat that we're burning. So even though the simple equation is sort of the holy grail of fat loss, there are still lots of great body weight movements that can be done that don't lend themselves to being moved over a large distance, yet can still burn fat and make you strong. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So one of the tricks into burning more fat and building greater strength is the eccentric contraction that we were talking about just a few seconds ago. So even if you can do, push-ups, pull-ups, things like that, there is a trick to doing them a little better. So making your body weight workouts more challenging, and making challenging body weight exercises easier for you to complete. First, if you want to build more muscle and get more out of a challenge from your body weight exercises, like your push-ups, your pull-ups, your squats, things like that, you can add more weight. But if it's body weight, what else can you do? And the answer is to slow it down. The eccentric contraction, sometimes also known as the negative portion of the movement, and that is what we want to slow down. So how much time are we talking? About 5 or 6 seconds. That eccentric contraction is defined as active contraction of a muscle while the muscle is lengthening. So for example, when we're talking about our push-up, the action of lowering your body towards the floor, that would be the eccentric contraction. So that is the part we want to do, that slow lower. If you've been in the gym with me, we've talked about our man makers, curls, things like that. That slow lower, that is that eccentric contraction that we're talking about. So in our push-up, for example, lowering our body towards the floor is the eccentric part, and we want to slowly do that. You're essentially working against gravity and slowing your body down from collapsing onto the floor with gravity. So the amazingly beneficial eccentric contraction is also what causes delayed onset muscle soreness. So if you've heard the phrase or the term DOMS, it's delayed onset muscle soreness. And so it's going to cause that for about 48 hours after workout. You don't have to worry though that that soreness won't happen every time you train, just the first few times, and then the body adapts. If you were in here at the gym on Saturday, those step downs, they're a bit of a burner, and next time we go back and do them, things like that, you recover a little bit faster. You don't feel the soreness that you do the first time or the first few times that you're doing it. So completing bouts of eccentric training and then repeating the workout a week or more later will result in less DOMS after that second workout or preceding workouts after that. So what are some of the other benefits of eccentric contraction, of slowing down that movement? You're going to have greater protection against injury or re-injury, which is great, especially for those of us that train multiple days of the week. So to prevent injury or re-injuring is obviously a nice benefit to have. Less weariness from training, so that's that extreme fatigue where you just need to take that time off. Also, focusing on the eccentric contraction has the potential to raise resting metabolic rate by about 9%. The greatest magnitude of that is going to fall within the first 2 hours post-workout. And also greater strength and performance improvements as well. So typically during that eccentric contraction, we're going to see a little bit more rip in those muscles, which we then repair and build and get a little bit stronger. And we like that because fat's going to eat, or muscle's going to eat fat. So of course we want to be building some muscle. So eccentric contraction, where lowering is, the focus on the lowering is nice and slow. It improves strength and fat loss, since slowly lowering the body weight generates more muscle tension than just dropping to the floor. Right, we talk about that push-up. If you are slowly lowering, there's a ton more tension in the body than if you just simply drop to the floor. So the concentric contraction is the counterpart to the eccentric. So when we think about the push-up, that is the pushing up from the floor. So think about it. You have to work harder to slowly lower your body from falling against the pull of gravity. And that's exactly what you want to do, because the more force that we can generate, the more muscle is recruited to generate that force. Therefore, the more calories we're burning. Basically, you get more bang for your buck. So our body has different types of muscle fibers that do different things. So we've got slow twitch fibers. They're type 1, and these are really good for slow, long activities. Fast twitch fibers, also known as type 2, they're good for short endurance, explosive exercises. You think sprinters versus cross-country runners, if you want to think about it that way. The more force a fiber generates, the less endurance it has. So for example, those type 2. We cannot work more forceful fibers, those type 2 fibers, without also working the less forceful fibers, which are type 1. So the more forceful a fiber is, we're talking more type 2, the fast twitch fibers, the more metabolic benefit or fat burning benefit we will get when we recruit them. So all of this means that when you challenge your body to do more work, for instance, by going to a very slow lower on that push-up, into a type 2 exercise, like a plyo, like an explosive push-up, you're going to involve more muscle fibers, which, when we get more muscle fibers involved, we're more actively burning fat and building strength. It's a win-win. So in a perfect world, how do we want to do that push-up? Slow, 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 lower, and then big, strong push-up. So when we're talking about our man makers in here, big, strong curl up, and then slow, slow, lower. When you focus on more explosive, on the concentric phase of the contraction, the push in our push-up, you're also recruiting more fast twitch fibers, because we're generating more force than if we were just lifting our body off the floor without intention. So that big push, that explosive power, also known as plyometric power, that is also going to recruit more of our type 2, our fast twitch muscle fibers, which are going to burn more fat as well. So that slow eccentric and explosive concentric training is completely overlooked by a lot of people, and that is why we are focusing on it a little bit more in the gym, and that's why we want to continue focusing on it a little bit more in the gym. Doing so can compromise the quality and benefits from your body weight workouts and from your body weight movements, and even weighted movements as well. There was a study done in Boston, and it revealed that doing exercise that recruited more type 2 fibers, those fast twitch fibers, also improved insulin sensitivity and caused reductions in blood glucose, insulin, and leptin levels, which are all beneficial for fat loss. And that effects occurred despite a reduction in physical activity. So basically that last part is saying that you don't need to be working out as often to receive those benefits if you're training properly. So overall, big benefit when you train smarter. and you don't, when you train smarter, you don't need to train as much. And it will also have a greater improvement on preventing overuse of injuries and spending more time in the gym. So, long story short, when we're in the gym, we're going to focus on that slow lower, on that eccentric contraction, and a big push on that concentric contraction to help recruit our type 2 muscle fibers, those faster fibers a little bit more, and get more bang out of our buck for our movements. So I hope that helped explain a little bit about why we're doing what we do. And we have a few things going on in the gym this week coming up. Next Monday, 27th, we have our essential oils workshop. Katie Wilkin is coming in. That's going to be at 6:15. Members, non-members, anyone can come. So if you're seeing this, you want to come check it out, come and check it out. And then we have our holiday workout happening on December 16th. That's going to be at 9:40. We're going to have a little bit of social after. Again, bring family and friends and help share the love. All right, guys, have a great week, and I will see you next Monday. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.